I've been using C# since its original release at version 1.0. Since that time, I've seen a lot of changes added to the language and the underlying .NET runtime. I thought it would be helpful to have a video showing the newest features of C# 4.0. Details are covered later in the course, but this is a good place for a summary, especially for those of you that have worked with prior versions of C#. Dynamic is C#'s biggest improvement. This feature was inspired by dynamic languages such as Ruby, Python, and JavaScript. Dynamic binding means that type binding, the process of resolving types and members, is deferred from compile time to runtime. I should point out that C# remains predominantly a statically typed language. You opt into the dynamic world by using the dynamic keyword in your code. Calling an object dynamically is advantageous in scenarios that would otherwise require complicated reflection code. Dynamic binding is also useful when working with COM components. There are a few handy changes in method definitions. Named arguments permit a function caller to specify an argument by name rather than its position. Optional parameters allow a function to specify default parameter values so that callers can omit those arguments. Named and optional parameters can be used together. COM interoperability has been enhanced in C#. First, COM functions that return variant types are mapped to the dynamic rather than the object type, which eliminates the need for casting. Second, arguments can be passed by reference without the ref keyword. This feature is particularly useful when combined with optional parameters. Lastly, assemblies that contain COM interrupt types can now be linked rather than referenced. Linked interrupt types support type equivalence, sidestepping the need for primary interrupt assemblies. This simplifies the versioning story and minimizes deployment troubles. Finally, type variance has been added for generic interfaces and delegates. This allows generic interfaces and generic delegates to mark their type parameters as either covariant or contravariant, which enables implicit reference conversions. As I mentioned earlier, you can learn more about some of these enhancements later in the course.